selected the hands that you V-pipped. This is the first hand that you play. Overcalling 8-7 here. Flop a gut shot, backdoor flush draw, checks through. This guy now leads for just under half pot. What do you want to do?
Fold.
I think versus this many players, it's very unlikely that the small blind is bluffing particularly often. And there's really not much you can do when there are 3 players left behind. So, yeah, I think it's good. Opening ace-5 suited. Okay, so 3-way pot. What do you want to do here?
C-bet small. I don't think we can go wrong with C-bet small. Like 2 to 3 big blinds.
I like it. Yeah.
Or check sometimes as well. Depends on if I was C-betting a lot or not. Sometimes balance it as well. Like you can call any bet as well, just in case, like the guy on the cutoff bets. You can call that with flush draw. So either a small bet or check is all right as well. What do you think is better?
No, I think I'm just trying to think. With the ace and the king of clubs out there, it's less likely the cutoff has a flush draw. I think the big blind's got a ton of flush draws because he's just overcalling. So he's going to have hands like 7-6 of clubs, 9-7, 9. 10-9, you know, a ton of flush draws that will call or get it in with you on this board when you just way ahead. I think it's like Queen Jack of clubs, Queen 10 of clubs, Jack 10 of clubs in the cutoffs range, like only a few flush draws. And but I think when we bet, what are we trying to achieve?
Either take the pot down right now or just build it if we hit. And just like, I don't know, do you think we get... Yeah, the problem with betting is just like when they... Actually, it's not a problem. Like even if they raise, we can still continue, you know, without
exactly, Janda talks about, in his book, he talks about betting to deny equity, which is what you just said, like betting to win the pot now. And then betting to build a pot for the times you win. So that, you know, the pot's bigger when you actually hit a flush. And so you've absolutely right. There's sort of 2 reasons for betting. So I think betting small, you know, you are going to be able to get some hands better than yours to fold. Like the big blind could easily have a better ace in this situation and fold. Like if he has ace 10 off without the 10 of clubs, like what's he going to do? Like he can't continue.
He's done. Yeah.
Especially when it starts 3-way. The cutoff the same. Like he might have some small pairs like 2s through 7s that want to go ahead and fold when you bet. And he's not going to be doing too much raising, I don't think. So I think betting small is a nice play. Yeah, so you might even be able to get away with betting smaller than this. But yeah, it's good.
2 to 2.5. Right.
Yeah.
3 big blinds is a little bit. Whatever. Worked.
It seems all right. Yeah. Okay, so you see min raise here. We've got ace 9 off in the big blind. What do you want to do?
I'm mixing it up sometimes here. I either 3-bet. Depends on like my opponent once again. Like if he was like active blind or active from late positions in general, I might mix in a 3-bet bluff. I like it way more than just... I'm just doing this a lot with weak aces. I'm not sure like if it's a good strategy, but like I always like to like 3-bet those weak aces than just calling them and, you know, play them post flop. So I think I 3-bet it small.
Okay. I think of this stack size, like anything under 30 big blinds, if the small blind has a pretty wide range here, you can just jam. I think it's, you know, if you 3-bet and he calls, like it's a pretty tough situation. Obviously, you're going to have some strong hands in that range that you 3-bet. So it's not, you know, you can still continue on a lot of boards. But, you know, what are you going to do with pocket 4s here?
Yeah, probably jam.
Yeah, so if you want to jam like, I don't know, 2s through 7s, then maybe 8s, then you want to have some high cards in there as well. Because otherwise, a better player is just going to go, okay, you only have small pairs here, I can call with any 2 high cards in a reasonable amount of the time. So we want to have some of these hands in there as well. So I think you could jam if he's pretty tight, like pretty snug, and you probably can't, and you just want to flat and just play the pot in position, and it's only costing you one big blind, which is what you do. But yeah, I think that's I think it's worth considering all your options before you decide on one. I heard it described really well once, where like a professional snooker player or pool player would look at 3 different shots that they could play, and they would then choose the best one. And I think in poker we immediately go, okay, well, I always do this. And you said you mix it up, which is great. But I think sometimes we just go, okay, I always do this, so that's what I'm going to do now. But if we say, okay, so our options are we call, we can 3-bet, we can jam. Obviously, we can fold, but the hand's too strong to fold, so we can rule that one out straight away. And we say, okay, so if we're going to mix between call, 3-bet, and shove, like which one of those is the best? And one, I think, will just jump out, and then you go with that.
Yep.
That's played, I think, easy fold. I don't think there's too much to talk about.
Yep.
Okay, so
Christmas. I mean, not that I'm, too happy about it, but like, yeah, it's ace king and a $1 tournament.
Yeah, so it's like the cutoff should be pretty wide. The small blind should recognize that, but it's still shoving 31 bigs through the big blind and 20 bigs through you. So it shouldn't be too wide, but I mean, ace king off, I think, is just going to print. Let's can't remember if I actually ran this spot. Okay, let's. It's absolutely fine to get in here. Okay, so let's just discuss this. So, do you think ace 5 off is a shove from the cut here versus your open?
He had 10 big blinds.
Yeah.
I mean, like, my open is a late position open, but it's a late position open with 22 big blinds, so I'm always calling. Or not always, but like most of the time calling his 10 big blind shove. So with no fold with the ace 5, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And then what about the small blinds play?
That's brave. Like that's, I see this too often. Like people just like see a hand that looks pretty. They do it with even like, I don't know, king 10 suited or even king 10 off just because it looks good.
Yeah.
I don't think like it's ever a play or ever a good idea to shove a sun suited there. Versus my open and 10 big blind shove. It's just horrible.
Okay, let's have a quick look just to because when you are reviewing these spots, you can see like mistakes made by your opponent so that you don't make them as well. So I've put this in as your range from this spot, just as an estimate, and we can then say, okay, ace 5 off, definitely not a shove from his point of view. But like you can put yourself in that shoes and say, okay, what hands do I shove, and just compare it to what this suggests. And then this guy, like ace 7 suited, is just losing so much money.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can we look at our range? What if I had ace queen off in this situation? Can I call that?
Okay, well, against the ranges they should have, you can't call ace.
You can't. Yeah.
You can't call ace queen off. But
what if they are a little bit wider, as we saw?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's then, I don't know if like maybe he doesn't call with all of these. Then ace queen off, becomes a very profitable.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a great question, and I think that's the kind of thing you should be doing is just adjusting ranges and playing around with it a bit. But
yeah, I've been doing a lot of work with HRC on my free time.
That's great. Okay, call in. Okay, yeah, interesting spots. We don't close the actions. There's a chance here we could call in the big blind shoves. We don't have a club in our hand, so it gives us a little bit more equity in this hand. But what do you want to do here?
I mean, it's really awkward because like on the turn, like big blind can shove or do whatever on us, and we can do nothing after it. I think if he shoves. If he shoves and it's folded to us, I don't think I can call. Like he's gonna shove the flush draws, of course. Like we beat flush draws, and he might have the 5 as well, like easily on the big blind. So like the most awkward thing here is the big blind.
Yeah.
even if I call and the big blind folds and we get to the turn, like there's a lot of awkward turn cards. So I
For
think
sure, yeah.
we would have to fold on most of the turns anyway.
Yeah.
I hope I folded actually.
Yeah, I think what you've said is spot on. I think you're probably going to have the right equity if you do call and the big blind shoves, you get the right odds to make the call. But if he's got two overcards and a flush draw, like I mean, it's not a great situation. Not a great situation. You know, we're calling because of pot odds, not really because we feel like we're massively ahead. Because I don't think we would be. Obviously, he can shove some 5x, and he has very few 6-4 and 4 deuce because we have 2 4s in at hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think having the 4 of clubs would be good in a way, because you know, if a club does come on the turn, it can go check on the turn, and we can, you know, improve to a flush. Also, we block him from having a hand like ace 4 of clubs. That's an obvious flush on the turn if a club comes off. So here, though, I think it's not too many good things can happen on the turn. So I think fold is good. Yeah.
That's
so like
exactly
so now if you do have the 4 of clubs, like it's an easier call. If you think about your range now as well, like you're going to have some flushes now. You're going to have some. You might have a hand like backdoor flush, or like ace 10 of hearts, king 10 of hearts, queen 10 of hearts, jack 10 of hearts potentially. I mean, some of those are a bit dicey, the lower end of that, because of the big blind. But you know, ace 10 and king 10 of hearts. I can't remember how big he bet on the flop. Reasonably big. So you do, but what I'm saying is you do have some 10x. You have some flushes. You could have pocket 3s, pocket 5s. You could still have some pairs with a club. Like those are like the most obvious continues here. Given the sizing, like this is, I mean, he's either trying to really milk you for what it's worth, but I think strong hands here are just going to go ahead and bet. So I think there's a chance to to bluff this spot at some point, because this bet looks really, really weak now. But I think just having if you had a 4 of clubs in your hand, like it's just again one flush that it blocks some flushes that you now can't have, mainly just the ace 4 of clubs. You do call pretty horrendous river.
That's horrible.
And then he checks.
What do I do?
It's one of those spots. Go ahead.
Like looking at it, like as I said, like looking at it now, I would fold on the flop. But since I got here, I think I'm bluffing now.
Yeah, it's weird.
Which is I don't know.
If you think about your range now for getting to the river, you have some 10x we talked about. You've got pocket 3s, pocket 5s. All of those are going to be value bets. You're going to have some flushes as well that potentially, like the nut flush, you can value bet. You decide with other flushes in this spot. Pocket 4s here is literally the worst hand you get to this river with. I mean, obviously it's 4 high, 2 pair with a 4 kicker. So like you basically have no worse hands to bluff with.
Yeah.
So I think like this is the thing, like you probably want to have the 4 of clubs, but just because it would just reduce the number of bluffs you did have. If the other hands you get to this river with is going to be like 6s through 9s potentially, and you can't necessarily bet those on the river, so some of them will be checkbacks. But yeah, this is, I think, the worst hand, and taking literally the worst hand you get to this river with and turning it into a bluff is got to be the good play. So let's see if you did that. Yay!
Oh, I think he called. Oh man, I'm a genius. Oh my god! Oh,
nice hand.
But I think why I went with it was just like the weird sizing on the turn and then checking the river.
Yeah. So I think if
he bets 2 big blinds on the river, like I'm done. You know, if he bets 2 big blinds again, like I can do nothing. What do you think? Like, you think I could bluff even if he bets the 2 big blinds or the small sizing again?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, like this is it's the worst hand you get to the river with, and you do have some strong hands to be able to raise. You have flushes and full houses. So his hand, like, what does his hand look like when he makes his 2 small bets on the turn of the river? Like it's like
I don't know,
some sort of
maybe like
weak.
a 5. Maybe like he did that with a 5 on the turn because he was scared that the flush got there, and now he checking because
Yeah,
you know,
potentially.
the 10 got there. I don't know, man. People are into micro stakes.
Yeah, I mean he could
But
have
yeah.
he can have some ace highs with a flush draw on the
Maybe
turn.
like the ace of clubs, something.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely that he folds a pair
Yeah, that's for
on
sure.
this river, but not inconceivable. Okay, open queen 10, go for a bet, fold, looks good. Okay, yeah, so we decide to bet here. I think this is a high frequency bet. I mean, you have a lot of strong hands here. The strongest hand really he can have is pocket jacks and then king jack suited. But
And kings.
you think he can have kings?
You were talking about him?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
okay.
can definitely have kings
Yeah,
here. But yeah, so this is the thing. Like you can have kings and jacks and king jack suited. I don't think he's flatting twos from this spot, although he be. But you'd open twos. You have aces. You have ace king, king queen. Lots of strong hands here. So I think starting with a bet is good. Like just preventing him from, with. I'm trying to think. Like if he has a hand like ace queen, obviously he just continues. So like, do we actually benefit from getting him to fold some cards that can just improve for free? Just trying to think of.
That's a good point as well. Like if he flats with like I don't know, 7s to 9s, he's beat that anyway.
Yeah, I suppose that's
Just like
the big example, isn't it? Like if you bet tiny here and he's got 7s through 9s, yeah, okay, they don't hit very often, but we give him a free opportunity to hit a set on the turn if it goes check check. So if we bet small, he's just like, well, what do I do now? I can't do anything. So he just goes ahead and folds. The hands, like the other hands in his range, ace queen, queen jack, jack 10, obviously they just don't fold in this spot to a small bet. But yeah, I think a small bet worked
starting
pretty
with
well.
a c bet
Yeah.
is
Yeah, so that's probably the smallest bet we've seen, and I think that's absolutely fine. He clicks it back, and I mean, I'm sure like you're supposed to continue at like some frequency here, or maybe 100%, but it's just such a weird line that he's just not going to be bluffing too often. I don't think. Like if he, the kind of sort of natural bluffs that he has here is like queen 10 and 10-9, and you have two 10s, so
yeah,
I guess you could
that's
have
it.
like ace queen, but ace queen still has fairly decent equity against you here. Yeah, I think I think you can just go ahead and fold. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think he was tight and he like min clicked back so freaking fast.
Yeah.
So
was
just
it
like
misclick?
maybe. Yeah.
No, I think that's fine. And like, if you think about the hand, you can still continue with your king X. You can continue with ace queen, ace 10,
Of
queen
course.
10 suited. Your jack X. You've got sets. You've got overpairs. There's a ton of hands you can continue with here. So, yeah, I think it's okay. Okay, so we see a limp, a min raise, off. Hang on. Off less than 10 bigs. That looks pretty strong. A call. Go with a call. I think that's fine. Like, we're getting a good price. We just hope that the undergun player doesn't jam.
And
Okay. So, what a strange spot already.
yeah.
So now he leads. Okay, it just gets weirder, and this guy jams. Okay.
Keep in mind the under the gun +1 limped with 12 big blinds as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So the original thought was that the original raiser is pretty strong, isolating a limper off less than 10 bigs. And now he wants to go ahead and jam over this 10% pot bet. And also there's like, it's not like it's only him in the pot. Like there's 2 other players left to act. So I would say this looks pretty strong.
Super strong.
Yeah, so when we look at it and we go, ooh, we have top pair with a backdoor flush draw.
Yeah.
We, you know, relatively, it's not that strong if we look at the situation. So what would you like to see yourself do here?
As you said, like top pair and a backdoor flush draw looks good. Even if he has like, I don't know, the strong hands like queens, kings, aces, like we can still improve. We still get out. It's just a weird line overall, like under the gun +1 limbs with 12 big blinds. Like they're gonna have some hidden monsters there. So I think we can fold sometimes, but it really depends on, you know, if the guy or if both of them were like tightish or something. Like I would base my decision on a history I had with them. You know, if I saw them do something stupid, I'm probably never folding there, even if it looks strong. Like I don't know. Like I think I called basically.
Yeah, I just did a quick equity. Like if he has over like a set or better, like Jacks plus here on this board, then we have 21% equity in this spot. So not a great situation. Plus you know, there's a guy behind who could easily have just flopped it in some weird way. I don't know why he's limping at all. So I would say this is probably just a fold. Like it's tough to range this guy min raised over a limper off less than 10 bigs, but it looks to me to be fairly strong. And I think these are spots where you can just avoid getting in like 8, 11 big blinds and just move on.
Oops.
Okay, I mean, I have no idea what this is, but
it's horrible.
But yeah, this
even
the
king, even the king jack is just like a hand you don't expect there from, you know. And that's what I'm talking about. Like he could easily have, I don't know, like 9, 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's still true that he does look pretty strong, and he's like king jack is pretty much similar to like queens here, in that it's, you know, top pair or an overpair, and that we're not doing particularly well against. But yeah, you're right. Like, there's always going to be those situations where someone just wakes up like with a super weird hand and it just doesn't make sense. But I think I think in the long run, like we should fold here. Like I feel like it's better to fold here and be shown 2 hands that you beat than get it in here and be shown 2 hands that you lose to. No. Because it's going to be, there are going to be far more times that you'll beat here, I would say, than you are ahead. And I know that you don't have to be ahead that often, but we don't close the action, and this guy, you know, I just don't know what he's doing, but
and he called as well when I overshoved. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible. Okay, so we've got a limp, min raise, call.
That's a push.
Yep, I like it. I mean, is that the same guy that this Tati Sanchez guy?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I was going to say, like, I don't know what this thing is about min raising over a limp, but he's shoved this. I mean, this guy calls like.
That looks.
I'm ready to close
right.
the table. It looks pretty strong. Okay, he has ace queen. Okay, so it's worth keeping an eye on this guy, that if he's limping those hands. Queen 10. Yeah, that's good. Okay, this spot. So 13 big blinds. What do you want to do with ace king off?
Just push.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see what you did.
Oh my. I mean, ace king is just still top of my range, but like still, bro, just push, Katlan.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time, what's going to happen is you're going to get called and
just like miss the board.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is a shove. You can get called by worse. It was great, and you get a good chance to double. And now we get into a spot where I'm not really sure what's going on because he's flatted. Okay, and then he bets 1 big blind on the river.
Oh my god, I don't remember this hand. Like, keep in mind this session was long. I think we can hear a call.
Yeah, I mean, this is very rarely going to be a bluff, but like some players will just bluff for this stupid sizing because they just don't really know what else they do. Like, how else do they win apart from like putting a tiny bet in on the river? I think we should call. Like, I think we're going to be showing a 7 a decent amount of the time, but like, what 7x does he really have, or 8x? So like, this could quite easily be, if you think about the kind of hands that would normally flat here, would be like high cards. King, queen, queen, jack suited, those kind of hands that probably get to this river and just like, okay, I can maybe get him to fold. But it's kind of weird because your hand kind of looks like exactly what it is, like ace high. So he's not likely, if he's thinking, to want to bet one big blind to try and get you to fold an ace.
Yeah.
But I think I would probably call here and he's on ace 10 off, good shove, that's good. Ace 4 off, good shove. Ace 9 off, okay.
How many big blinds do I have?
Yeah, okay, so definitely getting the right price to just limp and move forward. This Endicott Alonso guy was the guy that limped ace queen suited before in early position.
Yep.
So that's, you know, you've got to think, are we going to get ourselves into a situation here where we flop top pair and not thrilled with it?
Definitely, yeah.
Like, if we hit a 9, then obviously we can just go with it. If we hit an ace, like, you imagine that most of the time when people limp, you're going to have the best ace with ace 9, because ace, you'd hope that they would raise hands like ace 10 plus. But we've already seen this guy under the gun limp a strong ace. Okay, so it checks all the way around, and then you bet the turn. This guy calls, heart on the river. You bet small again. Would you bet this small with flushes and straights as well?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah, he folds. I don't think there's too much to talk about that. I just think it's worth you know, considering the possibilities pre-flop.
Do you think we could just fold pre? Or do we have to like take it?
Yeah,
It's 5-1, right, or whatever. No,
like if this guy was tight, and then suddenly was limping, and you know what his range for limping looks like, I think there's an argument to fold. But it feels so nitty to want to fold here. But I think it's just worth thinking, okay, what are the situations where we're happy to get it in, and are those situations going to be, you know, very profitable for us in the long run? Okay, calling 6-4.
Oh, I remember this hand. My heart almost stopped.
Okay, so he bets. What do you want to do here?
I'm shoving.
Okay, so just tell me and tell everyone else why you want to shove here.
So pre-flop, before I called, I said if there's something stop and goable, I'm gonna stop and go. Like, he opened from, how many big blinds did he have pre-flop?
Like 18
big blinds, yeah. Right? So yeah, I just, you know, if he missed the board, which he does, with, you know, ace king, ace jack, it's really hard to continue for like 7s, 8s. Like he still has some hands that we can make him fold. Yeah, I think. And yeah, there's like, if I can make him fold, like there's how much, like 8 big blinds in the pot. I got 13 big blinds behind.
Like, it's a big pickup, isn't it? If you,
yeah, it's a big, like if he missed the board, then we can pick it up right here. It's like we printed money if he missed the board.
Yeah, and he has lots of high cards. Ace king, like you said, ace king, ace jack, ace 10, king jack. I mean, king jack might continue, maybe. But yeah, maybe. You've got like 7s and 8s that will struggle when you jam. You know, you're not just going to jam bottom pair here and make it easy for him. So, what do you do with jack 10 or 7-8?
The same.
Yeah,
the same. I think. Okay. Yeah.
And what about? Trying to think the best hand you have here, like queen 9 or 6s. If you don't jam 6s pre, would you just jam those as well?
I would just jam pre, but just like if I flat, I would just call. I would just call the strong hands and just let him hang himself, basically.
Yeah. So you did jam. Just to sort of push back a little bit on this the stop and go. Essentially, like stop and go, in theory, would be to call and then to shove the flop, because you were stopping by calling and then shoving by going by shoving. But no, I like what you've done here. I mean, you know, you can do this a few times, and I'm sure you will on stream, and you get called by ace queen and lose, and everyone's like, well, why did you do that? You had bottom pair. But it's not about that. It's about like you've already analysed it really well. You just had a lot of hands that he bet folds in this situation, and you know, you still have what, 20% equity against his pairs. So
Yeah.
but, you know, fold equity plus hand equity is just going to make that very, very profitable. Okay, shoving threes looks good. Oh, the boots. Okay, so what do you want to do here?
Yes, probably push. You think we can just like slow play with 8 big blinds?
I don't see why we can't, because we've got other hands. Like, if you think about all the other hands you want to flat here, like if you have 10-9 suited, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So I think you could call it again. It's that situation where you're like, I've got aces with 8-9 big blinds. It's always a shove. And I think if you think through all of the all of the options, so we've got fold. Well, that's, you know, we're never folding. That's ridiculous, unless it's a satellite. We could call. Well, that looks pretty good. We keep in a lot of hands. Aces just, you know, performs very well on, you know, pretty much every board. So that seems pretty good. We, you know, if he has a pretty wide range in this spot, he may fold when we jam. Like, I know it's not a lot of chips, but you know, there are some hands that he's going to go ahead and fold, which would put another bet in on the flop.
Yeah.
Plus, we get, you know, those hands could flop top pair. If he has a hand like Jack 10 suited, let's say, and you call, and like if you shove, he probably just goes ahead and folds.
Yeah.
Because he's raising under the gun, and you're shoving through that. Like, he can't expect you to be shoving that light, and therefore, you know, he should fold some hands. But like,
don't you think his range is on a stronger-ish side?
Yes, yeah. So that's the other, like. So
that was one of the reasons why I think I shoved. Like, I was just like, we probably getting called, you know. Like, he opened from.
He raises 15 bigs under the gun, so his range does look strong. Yeah, I think you're right. But I think again, like the key point here is just considering all the options. Because the thing is, you might, like, okay, let's say I always shove here. Like, that's fine. Shoving, you know, could be the right play in a lot of situations. It could be the right play here, but unless we consider all of the options, we don't know for sure.
He folded, actually. You saw that?
Yeah. I mean, as boards go, that's pretty dicey. We don't want him to have Jack 10 suited here.
Yeah, for sure.
Bad example.
Jack 10 of spades.
Yeah. Okay, so we shove jacks. That's good. Okay, King Jack suited, 16 bigs. We raise.
What do you think about it? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, you've got a very call happy table. I'm just thinking about, again, like if we think about options here, folding. The hand's too strong to fold, so we don't fold. What
shove?
We could shove,
It's
and
too
I'm sure
early.
it's profitable, but it's like high risk.
Too early, right?
Yeah, I mean, 14 big blinds. I feel comfortable shoving here. So it's not too dissimilar, but you know, we still want to have a raising range here. What do you think about limping?
I don't know. Like, sometimes when women open, we just take it down you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So again, like,
and
so you see,
it's just
go ahead.
It's just not that big of a difference between a limp and a min raise. Like, it's just one big blind. That one big blind gives us a chance to take it down.
I love it. Yeah. So by asking the question, you're already sort of making a pretty strong argument for one option over another. You know, you could say, okay, I could limp here, and if somebody isolates, I could still call, and we have a hand that, you know, can flop a decent top pair, and we can go with it. if we raise and get 3-bet or shoved on, we can't continue. So that would be an argument for limping. But it's again, it's just worth considering all of the options. Okay, what do you want to do here?
Check.
No, we're just giving up.
Nah, basically, like, if I get to see the turn and it's like a spade, then maybe continue. But like, I think one of them is gonna have a decent amount of time here. It's like do you think c-betting is not an option? I think ever.
No, I'm just thinking.
Yes, 3 opponents.
Like again, like if you looked at the options check or bet, which are the ones which you think is going to have more arguments for it, then probably check. But there are some arguments for betting, and that you can get some better hands to fold. But then you're betting through 3 players, and it's going to be tougher to get 3 players to fold than if it was heads up. So I think check's fine. That's a big bet. And shove. Okay, well,
he check shove 9.
Well played, 9s. Firstly, you should just shove pre, and secondly, that's pretty horrendous. Versus a pot bet as well.
Yeah, that's check. That's weird.
Yeah. So I imagine if you'd limp the king jack suited, and then you just limped aces here. I think raising's fine. Like if we're not thinking through why we would ever limp, then we should probably never limp. Just stick to playing a game where you feel comfortable. But if you have a reason, and you can find a lot more reasons to limp than to raise, then go ahead and limp. So yeah, I think it's good to raise here. He calls, which is strange when you've got your stack size. So you go for a check here. What's the reasoning behind that?
To let him connect on a turn, like, he's still pretty strong. There aren't too many hands that like we are scared of. Of course he could have some connectors in his range. And it's dangerous to give him that free turn card, but like with his stack and our stack and the pot, I think once he hits, like, we get, like, I played those aces pretty tricky. I remember this spot actually. It's gonna be interesting to see his hand on the river. So basically, like, my main thought process is like we are too strong, and he doesn't have many hands that call us if I see bet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Do you think like a small c-bet can still like get, we could get called by some, I don't know, broadways or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think the check's fine as well. Give him a chance to bet or to catch up. 8 of diamonds on the turn. So once he checks back flop, it's pretty unlikely he's going to find a bet on the turn, I would say. Just trying to think what kind of hands does he have. And again, it's difficult to range him because you start the hand with 14 bigs and he's just called. So if he has like some broadways, does he have studio connectors here? Like, he really shouldn't, but we don't know that he's on a level where he knows he should fold those hands. So yeah, again, like it becomes a tricky thing to try to range him in this spot. I think the downside to checking here is that it goes check check, and then on the river you just get 1 bet. Like, but then how likely is it you get 2 more bets out of this hand anyway? Because he's very rarely going to have a hand that's strong enough to call 2 bets. Like, if he has an 8 here, then you probably get it all anyway by checking and letting him bet. So check check, queen on the river. I mean, if you think about, he probably has some king queen, queen jack, queen 10, those Broadway hands. So I think we can probably value bet here. But then if he does have those hands, like, he's probably going to go ahead and bet them himself, and then we can jam, because I really don't think that we're beat very often here.
Nope.
So yeah, I don't like, it kind of looks weird to check aces 3 times, but
I mean, at the same time, like yeah, and he can still bluff. Like, he's a chip leader, and I actually saw him like do that. Actually, the reason why I checked was based on like his, he was or he was over aggressive in certain spots. So okay, if he has a queen X hand, like I don't know, as you said, queen 10, queen jack, queen king, whatever, he's gonna bet anyway.
Yeah.
And just in case he doesn't, he can still fire a bluff here, and we just
that's good.
we just like
it.
get one more bet out of him.
Yeah.
You know. Look at the hand.
Wow.
Like we could like extract value from him on the flop, the turn as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a board where you just don't expect him to have anything.
If I bet the flop, he probably shoves. What do you think?
Potentially, yeah.
Like he could, because like the flop doesn't connect with my under the gun in open range too much with like 13 big blinds. So if I was him and I had 4-5.
Yeah.
I could, he could flat as well, because like if I bet the flop, I'm probably betting the turn as well. With whatever, yeah. So it's just a
really strange hand. I'd keep an eye on him because he's obviously not flatting the hands that you should be flatting there. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and shove. This is good. So similar to the ace king offhand, we had similar stack size. We should just go ahead and shove. Okay, so we limp from our friend who limped ace queen earlier.
Yeah.
We now see a 3x ISO. These situations are quite interesting because if this guy just opens normally, then we can shove a much wider range. But because he's isolated the player, his range has become stronger, and therefore we can't shove as many hands. Plus, we now have to shove through a guy who's limped under the gun, who we now know is had ace queen in the last time he limped. He has limped some other hands where he just folded on the flop, so we don't know exactly what his strategy is. Like if he's just limping big aces, and it's difficult to know. So thinking about all of that, what do you want to do here with ace jack off?
While I was editing the highlights for this video, and I saw this hand, and I saw what I did, I actually wished I didn't do it, even though I'm gonna win. Spoiler alert. But like I think there's a strong argument for folding, because like we saw the Indica guy with the tricky limps and stuff.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the guys ISO raise looks strong. So I think there's a strong argument to just let it go with ace jack.
Yeah, I think I would still go ahead and call, but we are going to run into some hands that dominate us a decent amount of the time. And again, like we said it earlier in the video or the review, that we got to think about the future situation, like what the flops where we feel comfortable getting chips in, and on jack high boards we have top pair, top kicker, which is we feel comfortable, but we still lose to queens, kings, and aces and jacks. On an ace high board, we still lose to ace king and ace queen. So again, like it's just worth thinking about that. Plus the guy under the gun, if we call and he jams, like we can't continue. So and we've thrown away 2 big blinds. So yeah, it's tough to know how he's going to respond to this action. I think you could make an argument for folding. I think shoving's probably the worst option, and then I think I still want to go ahead and call. But it's it's not, we're not fist pump calling, like, for sure. Okay, right, so we're dead.
Christmas.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
It was a Christmas time for me. One time, finally, after 6 months, I sucked out.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
really
we are totally right. He limped once again with like a strong hand, Ace queen suited, we saw him limp.
Yeah.
Ace jack suited, he limped. So
yeah,
there is a strong argument to fold.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so we open ace 8. So you bet, get jammed on, a very easy fold.
GG's.
So you raise, call, yeah, seems fine. Okay, so he bets half pot. We have a backdoor flush draw and a gut shot.
Yep.
What do you want to do here?
Call, because like there's a lot of interesting turn cards. 8 gives us the nuts, right? If I'm correct.
Yeah.
Diamond allows us to continue. 10 is a really tricky turn. But yeah, like I think we can call because like there's a lot of interesting turn cards for us.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's good. Okay.
Oh, 10.
10.
That's a really tricky one.
He goes ahead and bets half pot again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't look that good anymore. Because like we can get the flush now, and it's literally just the 8. Even okay, the 10 and the 9 gives us 2 pair. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, let's just I'm gonna put this into Equilab.
And at the same time, if I call here, I'm committing myself. If I shove here, I'm gonna get called by a strong hand most of the time.
Yeah, I mean,
Or-
do you think you can shove here and you have fold equity? Does he fold any
sure.
hands that beat you at the moment? Probably not.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we think about what his range looks like here, I mean, he can have, like, if we look at the strongest hands first, our range is obviously going to be really poor. Our equity is going to be very, very poor in this spot. Then if you think about other hands he could have, like he can be bluffing king queen, right?
Yep.
He can have like aces, kings, and queens.
Ace jack.
Yeah, definitely ace jack, maybe king jack. So our equity is has suddenly shot up to 31%. We need 25% to make a call here. Then as well, like he can have flush draws. I guess he could occasionally have 9-8 suited as well, so it's gonna bring our equity down a little bit. But yeah, he can then have flush draws as well. So let's have a look. If we just give him ace and nut flush draws, then our equity shoots back up to 34%. So we actually have the right equity to go ahead and call here. If you wanted to, you could shove and get him to fold some of those hands, like king queen, that has some equity against you, can improve to an overpair or a straight, or a pair higher than yours, basically. And you can fold out the flush draws as well. So I think there's an argument for going ahead and shoving. You block 9-8, you block jack 10, you block 10s, like his easy bet calls on this this turn. But yeah, if we have the right equity to go ahead and call versus his range, then I think we probably should. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. And do you think like if I call and then like check fold the river, don't you think it's just like a little? If I call here, I'm down to 15 big blinds, and I started the hand with how many big blinds pre-flop, like 30 or something.
Yeah, let's have a quick look.
Like I invest half of my stack.
26.
Yeah.
And then fold, and then get down to 15. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like preserving your stack, because you're at a stack size now where like each chip is worth a ton. Like the chips you have in your stack are worth more than the chips we would stand to gain. So you don't really want to lose many chips in this spot. I guess it kind of depends where you are in the tournament as well. Like we're at 800, 1600 blinds. So where does that sit? How far into the tournament are we?
Yeah, like 100 people, something like that.
Okay. So there's still like a long way
say.
to go. So I wouldn't be worrying too much. I think if it's a profitable call, it's a profitable call. And then it's just a case of, can you jam here instead? I think a lot of the time when the double barrel here, they're not going to fold the value hand like an overpair. You're just not going to fold, even though like your range looks really, really strong. Because if you have 2 pair or a set here or a straight, like you could check jam this turn. And like that's a lot of what your range looks like, and then you want to have some bluffs in there, and I think this hand could find its way into there because it blocks some of his strong hands, and you can still improve if you get called.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just another thought to maybe play it in that way. You know, you probably got better bluffs, like some sort of like 8-6 of clubs. I'm thinking about that just has that way more equity when you do get called. So yeah, I think like I said, like if this can be a call, like if it has the right equity to go ahead and call, and we needed 25% on the turn, and we're getting like 34. We have 34% equity here. Then I think we can go ahead and
go ahead
and call. Okay. I mean, I'm just thinking, are there any rivers that we can bluff? Like literally just like we call and then donk shove the river.
Maybe a club.
Yeah, I think he's good. But the thing is that like we said that some of his range is going to be flush draws. Like I didn't put all of the flush draws in there. He can obviously have a lot more flush draws than I put in. I just so our equity is going to go up. But yeah, that club is probably going to be better for him. Like we're not going to have too many clubs that get there. Like we're going to have Jack X of clubs or 5X of clubs, and then occasionally those like 8-6 of clubs or gut shots with clubs from the flop. Like I guess 9-8 is already a straight, but I'm trying to think of some more. Like 6-4 of clubs occasionally, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if you just compare 6-4 of clubs to 10-9 of diamonds here. So 6-4 of clubs, it might even work better as a jam here because it never wins at showdown, whereas this hand can win at showdown if the guy gives up. Whereas 6 high has to get there. So if you check shove 6-4 of clubs here, then you do fold out some hands that you lose to, like King Queen, and if he does end up folding some flush draws on this turn, but with this hand, yeah, you get to the showdown with a hand that you can still win. Like if he gives up with King Queen or a flush draw or something like that on the river.